Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Let's start here. I got my coffee going. Hold on a second. I thought this was a good tweet from Link2, who is one of my sponsors. When the Link2 portfolio company Polyscience's Atomic Net blockchain launches, it will provide institutional digital asset trading with the same kind of secure, compliant, and risk-managed settlement that the DTCC, I think they meant, provides. Now that's coming now, and remember, both Ripple and Polyscience are on the Link2 platform. The link is in the description because it's one of my sponsors, and you can click on that link and tell them DAI sent you. And as a caveat there, I own both Polyscience and Ripple equity. Check this out. XRP monthly update, our triangle becoming a point like Big Bang. We set midterm wave 1 towards $3.82, our smaller time frame target. Third wave in midterm salutes us at $22. 31 March is the explosion point, and the light we'll experience. There's the Big Bang. I hope, I don't understand any of the terminology here, but I hope that he's right. Now, Eleanor Terrett did one of those Twitter lives last night, and there's several parts that I took out of it or that I marked. I'll show you what I marked. But I think the most important part, because Charles Gasparino has been upsetting a lot of people in the XRP community lately, and John Deaton addresses that fully. And I think it's probably good to point it out, and you'll see kind of what you expect, which is John Deaton, when the details start coming out, it's very obvious that John Deaton is the one that knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to show you that. And this is not in any way to bash Charles Gasparino. I like the guy. I think he's done well for us. I think if I had to sum up what he really believes is that, and I think that if I had to bet, this is probably what Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton believe too. They're probably sitting there going, wait a minute. Us and all of our buddies, we've been getting away with this kind of stuff forever. It's no big deal. And Charles Gasparino has probably been watching all these Wall Street people get away with the same kind of stuff for all these years. The only problem was this time they ran into a group of people that they were directly harming. And that's the reason that a big deal has been made out of it. Enough is enough. That's probably the best way to sum it up. And John Deaton sums it up in this thing too. But here it is at the 27:30 mark. This is kind of long. I'm gonna try to condense it if he gets out kind of what I want him to get out here. But Charles Gasparino introduces the topic.
For it, and it sounds like a column of mine. I want to switch the conversation to a subject near and dear to John's heart, and that's Bill Hinman.
Here we go. I'm out.
Hey, Charlie, let me just interrupt you. Not since Wyatt Earp met Ike at the OK Corral has there been such buildup, brother.
I just want everybody to know that I've never met Bill Hinman. I've exchanged emails with him because we run stuff by him all the time. I have no problem. Why don't you just unpack what you think is the problem with him, just so we could get this out in the open?
All right, sure. And a long time ago, when you first had me on Fox Business on Liz's show, you had asked about the conflicts. And back then, you were like, yeah, I'm not saying that he's guilty or anything, but it does look bad. And back then, Charlie, for 1 year, I never said that Bill Hinman violated any law. I said it looks bad and looks bad. Then the Empower someone who doesn't own tokens. He's actually Jason Foster. He runs Empower Oversight. He used to be an investigative guy for Senator Grassley. He started this nonprofit, which is oversight of the government, ethics and whatnot. Based on the stuff that I was doing and others, he sent some FOIA requests. And the SEC lied and he sued them. And finally, they turned over the internal emails between the SEC from Bill Hinman, his law firm, Simpson Thatcher, and internal emails between Bill and the SEC ethics office. And what we learned, remember when I told you way back when that Bill Hinman collected $15 million while he was there at the SEC? And
Right.
you justifiably said, hey, John, you can't hold it against someone for collecting a pension and their retirement. However, and I agreed with you. However, the ethics office looked at it, and he was an ongoing profit-sharing partner simultaneously. He wasn't retired. So he was getting paid profits
Man, the typing's
that
annoying.
the clients at Simpson Thatcher were paying the firm, including him. And so what they said to him...
But let me ask you this, John, just devil's advocate. Is that pretty typical of a guy that's in a pension fund at a big major law firm? I mean, is that like different than what goes on any place else when you go between government and you have your pension, that you're still making your pension is still based on the profits of the fund?
No, that's not. But if it's based on pension and future profits, but his was an ongoing, the more profitable that they were that year while he was at the SEC, and he was approving things that his firm, the Canon IPO, which is a Bitcoin Ethereum mining company, he got approval of that. And they made money from that. He benefited from that. And so what the SEC office said is, this is different, Bill. And this is how they said it to him, Charlie. They go, this is different. You have an ongoing financial conflict. So the law, and it's 18 USC 208, they said it's a financial conflict bar. Because of this is different. You can't even talk to them. You can't email them. You can't meet them. You can't, or you're going to be in violation of the law. And after that, he met them 3 more times that we can prove conclusively. He met with them. In fact, there's an April 19th email that his office sent out to his partner in China, a guy by the name of Attorney Chin Lin.
By the way, on top of all of this, this Charles Gasparino is basically trying to minimize this. But here's the problem. Everything John Deaton's saying right here is 1,000% correct, but there's a worse problem. Bill Hinman is the guy that made sure that the Ripple lawsuit was filed. It wasn't just that he did all of this and he helped get Ethereum the free pass. He was involved in making sure the Ripple lawsuit was dropped. And as we've seen from all the Joseph Lubin clips, Joseph Lubin was freaking giddy about it. He was having the conversations with the SEC behind the scenes. He knew what was happening. This is the problem. This is where it goes from just same old good old buddy, good old boy network, to a design of something where they were trying to capture Ripple. That's where this gets bad.
That was the Canine IPO. And that day he met with him and had.
And the other part is this Canon IPO. This is where the Chinese get involved, and Alibaba.
Lunch with him.
Okay,
let me just finish this. In these emails, he's joking about the conflict of interest. He's making fun of it. And so that's the point that I'm saying to you is, for a guy like you, you've been on Wall Street forever.
I'm just wondering if he ran by, like, maybe he just said, listen, I'm having lunch with someone. Can I do it? And they said, sure, go.
No, the emails prove otherwise. They actually get stern with him, Charlie. He says, at one point, okay, let's talk about this live. In other words, he didn't want it in writing anymore. And I'm looking at the email. It says, happy to talk. This is from the SEC ethics chief. Happy to talk live. My outlook is up to date if you want to schedule something. However, the analysis is the same for Simpson as it always been. You have a bar under the criminal financial conflict with Simpson because you have an ongoing financial interest in the firm. Meeting with them while having such a conflict is not permitted. As we discussed during your briefing, even calls with them are not permitted. And so it's different than the revolving door. And I think from your perspective, and you can tell me I'm full of shit if you want, because we have that kind of relationship. It's fine. But my belief about my Twitter.
Well, here's my suggestion. I mean, you kind of heard. John Deaton knows exactly what he's talking about. But here's the question. Stop emailing Bill Hinman. If he hasn't done anything wrong, put him on your show. Why is Bill Hinman not in this Twitter live? If he's so clean, put him on the show. Make him answer questions without a lawyer sitting next to him. Make him answer questions right here if this is just no big deal. I hadn't seen that yet. He's not going to do it because John Deaton's exactly over the target. Now, there's a lot more to that. Let me show you if you so you guys can. These are the sections that were interesting to me. 2730. That you can just stop your recording here. These are some interesting sections, but I don't want to take the whole video up doing that. Senator Ted Cruz wants to force Capitol Hill vending machines to accept crypto. That is, I like. We're starting to see a lot of stuff that leads in the direction of the government is actively now working to get this crypto thing going. Then Eleanor Terrett Scoop, federal government is developing a national digital assets research and development agenda. Today, this is the White House Office of Science and Technology posted a request to public comment to help. Okay, that's more government BS. I'll believe it when I see it out of this current group. Now, then we had CNBC had this representative, what's his name? French Hill. I just want to play you this part because they get to Gary Gensler. Watch this.
Trading the coins and running, how should the exchanges be overseen? All that's on the table and all that's going to be a priority for this year.
You think it's going to be this year? And you think it can be bipartisan when it's all said and done? That would take, I don't know, that we're not there right now.
Hey, I specialize in bipartisan. This is an area that's important for our country. We need this regulatory framework, and we need to come together to have it, or we're going to have continued chaos that we saw last year with a string of bankruptcies across the industry. That's not helpful to developers, to the industry, to innovation, and certainly not to investors and consumers.
You can't really tell the SEC what to do, can you? I mean, that's going to be as long as Gary Gensler's there, do you see any progress really being made?
Well, Chair Gensler says he was the cop on the beat last year. Gary Gensler also says that he's an expert in this area because he taught it in graduate school, blockchain and distributed ledger technology. So we'll invite him up to Congress to tell us what he knows and what he recommends in this area and what he was doing last year when we had so many challenges for our investors and our consumers.
Oh, man. Speaking of that, I feel like sometimes you just got to go back and show you this part. Let's listen to what they say here about Gary Gensler and FTX, because that's what Congress is going to be asking him, and I'm sure he's getting a little nervous about that. Let's talk. Why not? Let's just let you hear this part of this.
The SEC would have learned from that. And, I think what happened with FTX is critical that they don't. I mean, look at it this way. Sam Bankman-Fried goes in and sees Gary Gensler twice, right?
That we know of.
Twice.
Yeah, those calendars are still missing.
Katsuyama of IEX to start a federally approved crypto exchange. We do know now from the logs that Brad met with how many times, Ellie?
5 that we know of.
Yeah.
And that's recently, right? Right before the FTX.
I think Brad is the guy. I think that's the IEX guy.
In the last year, and I make the point that this is a meeting with a man who's supposed to be famously hard to get the meeting with.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Did it say why Brad met with him?
There were no meeting notes. It just said the date and the time and the people that were
present. But they were working. The IEX was working with the SEC to do this FTX exchange. So you got to ask yourself this, okay? Why, with all this stuff going on, he knew that they had an exchange that wasn't approved, and he knows they're looking at it doing another exchange that will be approved. Why didn't he take a look inside under the look under the hood of the one that wasn't approved? And by the way, why wasn't FTT sued? Why wasn't Sam Bankman-Fried
now you're over the target
sued for the FTT token? Doesn't that look like a violation of Hawley, that thing?
I mean, if there's a pure definition of a crypto that fits the Howey test, if there is one, it's going to be FTT.
Yeah, you know better than me. They
pre-mined it, they created it, and then they issued it. It's completely benefit. It's their token, so it's going to be completely based off
it benefited their combined enterprises between the hedge fund and this and that. I mean,
they collateralized it, they loaned it out, they did all these things, and they had complete control over the token, you know what I mean, as opposed to some of the others. So no, you're right. And Warren Davidson, no, not Warren Davidson, Tom Emmer, the congressman out of Minnesota, I believe, he claimed that he got a report that there was allegedly a short form disclosure of something that was worked between Sam Bankman-Fried, fraud, whatever you want to call him, IEX and Gensler. Now, I haven't seen it. All I'm doing is repeating what a sitting U.S. congressman said.
Get him in front of Congress.
And I don't know, but it.
Yeah. Okay, well, they're over the target there. Then we've got Warren Davidson weighing in, too.
What is the security? And, Gary Gensler will say, oh, it's so clear. We have the Howey test. It's not clear at all, which is why he says, come in and talk to us. And company after company comes in and talks to him, including FTX. And they either don't detect things like they didn't on Celsius and who knows how many others, or they do things that just endless discovery for years in some cases, and they never get around to definitively saying, nope, this is a security, or hey, here's a no action letter. Only 3 no action letters. So it's really driving capital outside of our markets. We have to make a bright line test that everyone knows, not just the innovators and investors, but the regulators themselves.
All right, we've got a couple of more things here. This was Digital Perspectives had put this out. This is James Wallace from Ripple talking about the digital pound. I'm just going to play you just the first part.
Stable coins, and then there are the sort of deregulated or unregulated stable coins. I think the message here is these are all relevant in the future. They will all coexist. And now the question is, for a digital pound, what is the role the digital pound will play in the UK? What value will that actually deliver? This is sort of my conclusion chart, but it's a good tee up for the next 2 or 3 charts. So I think, not just in the UK, but in any market, you've got to look at the different sort of stakeholders and enablers in any form of CBDC. So you've obviously got a regulatory framework. Is CBDC or is a digital pound actually legal tender? What would be, what are the rules that are going to be set around who could?
Anyway, I'm not going to play that whole thing, but he's got a full 11 minutes, and it's interesting. So listen to that. Then Eleanor Terrett has been pretty active. She's got a scoop here. Brian Brooks, former acting comptroller of the currency and former CEO of Binance US, has quietly left his role as CEO of Bitfury as of December 31st. He tells me the reason behind the move was that he had successfully completed the assignments he had been recruited for in 2021, which included a company-wide restructuring. He remains on Bitfury's board of directors. Now, this is interesting. Digital Perspectives. I don't know if how many of you have tried this Chat GPT. This is OpenAI. This is, I think, originally Elon Musk, and I think Jed McCaleb was involved in it too, by the way. But it's artificial intelligence. You can basically ask any question you want. And I think the concept is that this artificial intelligence is evolving and it can answer just about anything you type. Well, look at this. This is interesting. Brad Combs had typed this. How could XRP be used as a stable coin? XRP, the digital asset associated with the Ripple network, has been proposed as a potential stablecoin due to its potential to facilitate fast and inexpensive cross-border payment transactions. A stablecoin is a type of cryptocurrency that's pegged to the value of a fiat currency, another asset such as gold, to reduce volatility. One way that XRP could be used as a blockchain is by pegging its value to a fiat currency such as US dollar. This could be done by creating a system where XRP is exchanged for the fiat currency 1-to-1 ratio, then used as a digital representation for the currency cross-border transactions. Another way is by using XRP as collateral to back a synthetic stablecoin which is pegged to the value of a fiat currency. This could be done by issuing synthetic stablecoin that is backed by a certain amount of XRP, which would be held in escrow. The synthetic stablecoin would be designed to maintain a value stable relative to the fiat currency, while the value underlying the XRP would fluctuate. It's important to note that this is not an official use case from Ripple, and these are just proposals. That is interesting. Here's a list of FTX creditors. Most of probably the interesting ones you'll see have been, it says name on file. So all the people get to be anonymous whenever they want to, it seems like, in this business, or once things get legal. Ripple, our senior director of engineering, Brad Chase, sat down for a fireside chat with the Block's, what's his name? Nathan Crooks this year at this year's Quantum Miami. Ooh, interesting. To discuss real-world crypto utility and what a tokenized future looks like through products like Liquidity Hub. Don't forget the Ripple Liquidity Hub, folks. Or do they call it the XRP Liquidity Hub? I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family to watch those John Deaton, Charles Gasparino, Eleanor Terrett clips. They are pretty interesting. Thanks for listening.